Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is the Haitian Homie, and today we're going to be talking about the 8 Overwatch League expansion teams and their branding. So the idea for this video came from my last couple when I was looking at where I think each team will place this season. Check those out if you haven't already. But while I was looking and researching, watching some of the reveal videos for the new teams, checking out their skins, I was like, man, some of these guys look really cool. Like, if I didn't already have a favorite team from Season 1, I would seriously be considering jumping on board with a couple of these teams. And even still, I mean, even though I'm a Philly Fusion fan, I'm honestly considering buying a shirt for one of these teams, because it's just that cool. But we'll talk about that as we get into it. So we're going to be looking at the 8 teams, breaking them down based on their name. Is it cool? You know, their logo, their skins. How cool is the release video? I know that's, very scientific. How cool is it? Wow. And then also the general vibe that they give off and how it relates to the city or to the fan base. Okay, so we're going to break each team down by these different criteria and rank them from number 8 being the worst all the way up to number 1 being the best. So without further ado, let's hop in. Up first, we're going to be looking at the Washington Justice. So of course the name Washington Justice, they represent Washington DC, America's capital, so they chose a name that's very patriotic. Justice is a very common term in America, whether it's in the historical documents, it's in the national anthem. Justice, honor, glory, that sort of thing is very central to America. The logo is also very Americana. It's a red, white, and blue shield using the stars and stripes. Again, justice and defending our nation's values. Yeah, hurrah! And the skins, again, red, white, and blue. But here's the problem. The Washington Justice have bought in 100% to this, yeah, America, patriotism. Like, they bought into this so hard. And it comes off really cliche. I mean, they're using the same shades of red, white, and blue, or at least very similar to those on the American flag. Right? In contrast, the Paris Eternal are using iconography very important to France, but they've mixed it up a little bit. The red and blue aren't the same shades of red and blue that are on the French flag. That's cool. But the Justice are just copying and pasting America onto their team, and it's awkward because you already have other properties that are doing this exact same thing. Most notably, you've got the American Olympic team that when they compete, they're talking about, representing America and bringing back medals, and that's awesome. And the national team of the United States has every right to do that. But you're an Overwatch League team made half up by non-American citizens. That's awkward. I don't have anything against, Korean players representing America. That's fine. America is a land of opportunity, land of immigrants. I come from a family of immigrants. I'm called the Haitian Homie, right? So it's fine. Like, I don't care about that. It's just the whole going 100% in on this American vibe doesn't really work when, at least to me, the demographic of Overwatch League viewers probably isn't as patriotic as their parents' generation, right? Overwatch League is viewed by teens and young adults, my generation. My parents' generation is more likely to compliment America on what it's done right. My generation would be more likely to comment on the flaws and see how we can improve, right? You should be targeting a demographic of young adults. Why are you going super patriotic on them when that's not necessarily what they buy into? That just seems really tone deaf to me, and I think it's unfortunate for them. The reveal video is fine. They, of course, are going 100% in on this America Justice vibe, which is what you're doing, so congratulations, your reveal video did that really well. There's nothing wrong with the video. There's nothing wrong with the skins. Like, aesthetically, the team looks fine. It just doesn't work. It's too cliche. It's too basic. And that's why they're at the bottom of my rankings for branding for the new expansion teams. Moving up to number 7, we've got the Atlanta Reign. The name Reign being R-E-I-G-N, not like rain that comes out of a cloud. The Atlanta Reign are talking about winning, being on top, being the best. That's what Reign means. But that's a problem. When you name yourself something that has to do 100% with just like victory, with sheer winning, you got to back that up, and you got to back that up quick. I don't know about you guys, but when the Dynasty came in and went with that arrogant, we are the Dynasty, we are, the best. Granted, Dynasty is also a very Korean iconic term, calling yourselves a dynasty and then not making the playoffs is super cringy. Let's hope that the Reign don't have that problem. If they don't make the playoffs, if they perform in the second half of the league, it's going to look super awkward that they called themselves the Reign. The logo is a phoenix, a dark red phoenix rising up in flames. That's cool. I think it looks sick. But the other problem with that is that you already have 2 other bird-related teams in Atlanta, and you can make the argument that, oh, they're trying to synergize with them, they're trying to sync up. That's cool. And it is, but again, it's cliche. You've got the Atlanta Falcons representing Atlanta in the NFL with a red and black bird, and then the Atlanta Hawks are representing them in the NBA with a red and black bird. Granted, the Reign went with a darker shade, and they're not directly calling themselves the Atlanta Phoenixes, or Phoenixes? Is that the plural? I don't know. They're not going straight with the bird thing 100%, so that's cool, but still, it's just like, okay, it's almost overkill at this point when you've got 3 different red and black teams. The biggest problem I have with them is in their reveal video. So Atlanta, if you're not familiar, is a home of hip-hop and rap artists. I mean, Atlanta has a humongous hip-hop scene. I mean, just to name a few, you've got Usher, Outkast, Lil Jon, CeeLo Green, Childish Gambino, B.O.B., Ludacris, Migos. I mean, these guys are all from Atlanta. Your number one priority is probably to buy into the culture of Atlanta, okay? And so they kind of did. The reveal video features a hip-hop song, All Roads Lead Home by Ohana Bam. And so this song is all about, home being the best place, and you want to make it the best and make sure everybody knows about your home. The problem is they don't reference Atlanta at all in the song, so I did some research. The singer is from Chicago. Are you seeing what I'm getting at here? You have a whole city of musicians, big musicians, small musicians, up and coming, people who are trying to represent Atlanta and make it big. Why didn't you use one of their songs or commission them to do a song? Why did you go to a Chicago dude to represent Atlanta when there are people that would be super proud to represent Atlanta on a national scale? Like, from Atlanta. You could have referenced Atlanta specifically in the song. It's super tone deaf that they would go outside of Atlanta and outsource for this song. Honestly, it's a miracle I didn't put them at number 8, because that is almost a slap in the face to Atlanta musicians and to the Atlanta culture. Sorry, Atlanta Reign, but that's why you're at number 7, down here near the bottom. Number 6, the Chengdu Hunters. The Chengdu Hunters represent Chengdu, China. Their name doesn't really have anything explicitly to do with Chengdu, as far as I'm aware, but the logo does. The panda is a symbol of China, so it's cool that we've got the dragons and the pandas in here. It's weird that they went with a panda, though, when they're called the Hunters. I mean, everybody already made this joke, right? Everybody talked about why are they called the Hunters when they're pandas? Shouldn't they only be hunting bamboo? It's weird. I admit that. That's kind of why they're low here, is because pandas don't hunt. Don't call yourselves the Hunters and then have a panda logo. But I will say, the panda logo is dope. I mean, this thing looks really cool. The way it's kind of smirking and it's got that angular look to it. It's a cool logo, I gotta say. And the skins, I like the shade of yellow/gold that they went with. It's kind of in between the Dynasty and the Mayhem. It fills a niche that you don't see in sports a lot. You don't see a lot of bright yellow teams that aren't McDonald's yellow, right? Like the Mayhem. It's a good shade that not a lot of people are using in professional sports. And it's also not a color you see in the other skins in Overwatch either. It's just a great color. So that's why they're not at the bottom. As far as the reveal video is concerned, or their roster reveal, they don't have one. They don't have a reveal video, as far as I'm aware, on YouTube at least. They're the only expansion team that doesn't have a hype video. That's, again, pretty awkward. It's a huge missed opportunity to promote your team. Yeah, it's not good. Their general vibe is just, okay, it's average. They don't really have much of a distinct voice yet. I don't know how you can have a distinct voice when you have that dichotomy of a hunting panda. I haven't bought into their branding 100% yet. So that's why Chengdu Hunters are down here at number 6. They're not doing anything overtly terrible. Their skins and logo look cool. It's just a little awkward. That's all. Up next at number 5 is the Toronto Defiant. Let me start by saying that the 5th and 4th place for me are very close. So if you're a Defiant fan, their stuff isn't bad. It's just, ooh, it's so close. So the Toronto Defiant, the name Defiant, of course, is an abstract kind of name referring to defying everyone's expectations and being the underdog, which, if you watch my last videos, I do think they're a bottom tier team. So, hey, defy my expectations. Be defiant. Awesome. I think the name is fine. I don't see a problem with it. The logo, it's a little boring. It's just a T and a D. It's fine. Again, it's not bad. It's just boring. That's one of the reasons why they're in this bottom half. It's just nothing to write home about. The skins are actively good. This is a primarily black and then tinged with red. This black and red combo really goes with the defiant look, right? You're this underdog, you're lurking in the shadows, you're gonna surprise everybody. I think that the color scheme is great. Love it. And then they backed that up in the reveal video with the whole people count out Toronto. They say we're not good enough. We're going to come out and show them. And so it's got the players kind of in the dark, right? I think it's edgy. I don't know if it's too edgy for its own good. Like, slow down there, Reaper. But it's not bad. The general vibe of this team is we're going to surprise everybody. We're lurking in the shadows. I'm fine with it. It's not bad. Being number 5 here, it's fine. The only actively bad part of this team is the logo, I think. I don't really know how you do any better with a logo when you are using like an abstract name, right? I mean, the Rain went with a bird. The Toronto Defiant just went with letters. It's basic, but it's not the worst. And ultimately, the Toronto Defiant sit at number 5. And as we move up into the top half, we see at number 4 is the Paris Eternal. So the Paris Eternal are number 4 for me because of the way they remix Paris's like iconography in an awesome way. They're the only Overwatch League expansion team that does this really well, unlike the Justice and the Rain. So what I mean by that is the name, the Paris Eternal, is a reference to the eternal flame that's constantly lit under, please, I hope I say this right, the Arc de Triomphe. It's probably wrong. But like, it's an eternal flame that's lit under one of their national like monuments. That's super cool to me. You know, it's alluding to a very important place. When you look at a picture of like Paris, right, the two most important like structures are like the Eiffel Tower and the Arc de Triomphe. That's awesome to me that you're not just straight up calling yourselves like the Paris Eiffel Towers or something, right? But you're alluding to what makes Paris cool. I like that. The color scheme is like a maroon and navy blue. Again, you're not ripping directly off of France's national colors, but you're remixing them in a really tasteful way. And while the matte kind of color scheme is a little bit dull, it's tasteful. It looks regal. It looks sophisticated, and I like it. I think it works. It's one of the only kind of quote-unquote dull color schemes that really works out. I like it. And the reveal video, of course, digs into what makes Paris, Paris. Right? We are here to fight for the people, to fight for what's right, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it well. But again, like, what separates them from the Justice is that this is way more tasteful, and I think it shows in their holistic branding. The Paris Eternal are doing capital-based branding correctly, while the Washington Justice are doing it really, like, half-heartedly. I'm a big fan of the Eternals' vibe. This is a cool team. I'm looking forward to it. Number 3 is the Guangzhou Charge. This team is going for another kind of edgy look like the Toronto Defiant. The Charge, as far as I can tell, is related to the ocean that's not too far away from Guangzhou. They're using waves and lightning bolts in their branding. The logo is probably the worst part of this team. It's a little bit boring. It's just GZ for Guangzhou, but with a lightning bolt down the middle. Like, someone put this together in an hour, it looks like. I mean, it's pretty basic, but it gets the job done. I honestly do think it's a little bit worse than Toronto Defiant's logo, but the rest of the branding makes up for it. So their reveal video is going for this whole, like, oceanic, charging, like, high-powered electric kind of vibe. Their roster reveal video is, like, announcing boxers entering a ring, like a big deep announcer voice. They're going in on this charging, like, masculine kind of deal, but it works. Again, the charge for me is different from the Rain, because when you say you're going to rain, you're going to win. When you're charging in, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. It just means you're going to go at it with all your heart, and I like that. It's It's powerful, but it's not arrogant. It's cool. So the general vibe works out for me. My favorite part is probably the skins. This oceanic light blue, dark blue kind of look. It's sick. That's part of why they're in the top 3 for me, is that their skins are awesome. This color scheme just works, and even though there are other blue teams in the league, they separate themselves from those blue teams pretty well, which is tough to do when you've got, 4 or 5 different teams that are all using some shade of blue. This works out. They are probably the most distinct of like the blue teams. The skins are great. I'm gonna pick one of those up as well. So yeah, that's why the Guangzhou Charge are at number 3, because even though their logo is not that good, it's probably the worst of these 8. Everything else, it works for me. I dig it. Number 2 is going to be the Hangzhou Spark. When the Guangzhou and Hangzhou franchises were announced, I was really concerned that it would be tough for me to be able to tell the two apart, but I'm so glad that the 2 teams went for completely different looks. Guangzhou went for a darker look. Hangzhou is the brightest, most gregarious team in this league, and I love it. One of the reasons that I love the Spark is that they don't take themselves seriously. I mean, their name comes from an anime, a certain scientific railgun. Their name and their logo, their look is based around this anime. In fact, they were just going to be called the Railgun, but Blizzard said, no, you can't do that because copyright. So they went with the Spark instead. It sounds kind of cringy that you would name your team after an anime, but that's what the fans wanted. So the company that owns the Hangzhou Spark, they asked their fans, hey, what do you want the team to be called? And the fans wanted it to be based on the anime. That is awesome that they were like, okay, we'll go with it. We'll go full force into this. They, from the get-go, went with what the fans wanted. That speaks volumes to me, that they're actively involving their fans and that they're looking out for their fans, and that they went so far as to try to name the team after an anime because that's what the fans wanted. Props to you for doing that, and that's a huge part of why you're at number 2. Aside from the fact that, the name and the logo, the shooting gun, revolve around the anime that the fans wanted, I think it just looks good. That little backstory aside, we needed this bright pink and blue in the league. I mean, we don't have another team that's just that bright and neon. They are by far the most distinct color pattern in the league. And aside from the Gladiators, we don't have another team that would be considered a, quote, feminine look. Right? You've got a bunch of, darker colored teams that are all using the same sort of shades, but you don't have anything on the brighter, pastel or flashy neon end of the spectrum. You don't have many of those. So again, they fill a huge niche with this, and I love the pink. It's so out there. I love it. But at the same time, I am a little bit worried that, if you're picking up one of these skins in Overwatch, you might stand out a little too much. But oh well. The decision to just go all out with the pink and blue is fantastic. It's a bright, refreshing change of pace, and I love it. The reveal video does a great job of introducing Hangzhou to the world. I mean, it makes me want to go visit. It looks like a bright, kind of colorful place, and the way they place the players within this background, it's a mixture of nature and of culture and of metropolis life. It's a really cool vibe that they've got going in the video, and it just works. This team is fantastically branded, and I'm looking forward to watching them because of how bright and colorful and cool they look. I've just got a smile on my face while I'm talking about this because it's just so peppy, and I love a peppy, upbeat, bubbly vibe. I'm looking forward to it. I love it. I love it. But number 1, the team that just barely beats out the Hangzhou Spark is, of course, the Vancouver Titans. So the Vancouver Titans, I love them for almost the same but opposite reasons as the Hangzhou Spark. The same in the sense that the name, the Vancouver Titans, is directly relating to, Vancouver. It's a very mountainous place where you can imagine that Sasquatch would live, right? It works out. The logo being a big kind of Bigfoot, it just goes with the vibe of the city. There's a lot of wooded area, mountainous area. It's a mix of nature and of city, and the name and logo both really go with that. It just works out. The reveal video, staying on the topic of this city related vibe, I love the camera work in the reveal video. That's part of what pushes this above the Spark for me, is that if you're going to call yourselves the Titans, like, sorry, Chengdu, if you're going to call yourselves the Hunters, then you have to look like you're hunting. The Titans look like they're trying to hunt someone down, and they are not taking no for an answer. The camera work makes it look like you've got Bigfoot running through the streets of Vancouver. Like, they're going to kick you down in an alley and take you for all your lunch money. Like, I don't know. I love the whole Bigfoot thing. They just went for it. It's strong, it's powerful, without being too arrogant. The video is just super well shot, and I love it. And talking about the skins, this is, again, just what puts them a little bit above the Hangzhou Spark for me, is that, like, while I personally wouldn't wear a pink and blue shirt, probably, I would definitely wear this neon green and blue shirt. Their color scheme is really cool. It's bright, but not overly bright. It's dark while not being overly dark. I don't know, the green is kind of bright, the blue is kind of dark. They mesh in a really interesting way that gives off the vibe of nature, kind of like the green, the blue, it's very naturey colors, but while also being a very competitive, you can see green and blue of these shades being on an esports team. I don't really know how to explain that, but it just works. The skins look great, the logo looks great, they're really digging into what makes Vancouver Vancouver. I love it. Again, it was tough between the first and second spots, but Vancouver is just a little bit better for me personally. That's a personal opinion. You know, this is all subjective after all, but yeah, I'm a big fan. So that's what puts the Vancouver Titans at number 1. So just to recap and go through these once again, looking at the expansion team's branding from number 8 to number 1. Number 8 is the Washington Justice. Number 7 is the Atlanta Reign. Number 6 is the Chengdu Hunters. Number 5 is the Toronto Defiant. Number 4 is the Paris Eternal. Number 3 is the Guangzhou Charge. Number 2 is the Hangzhou Spark. And number 1, with the best branding of the expansion teams, is the Vancouver Titans. So thank you again for watching this video. Let me know what you think. As always, I love to have conversations in the comments, so leave me a comment with who you think has better or worse brandings than I pegged them for. If you have a new favorite team out of these, which one's your favorite? Which one do you like best? And what skins are you going to be picking up when these drop into Overwatch? So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Go ahead and subscribe if you would like, or leave a like, all that jazz. This is the Haitian Homie signing off, and I'll see you all in the next video.